Ohio State has no choice but to win the national championship this year, man. They pretty much bought a national championship caliber team. Their athletic director recently came out and said that the players that they have on their roster have received a total of up to $20 million from the school's NIL collective. They got guys like Quinshon Judkins, Caleb Downs. Both of those two players were the two highly sought after players from this past transfer portal cycle, and you get them on your team having to pay that price to go get them. Then you also get one of the best high school recruits at receiver that we've seen since Julio Jones and true freshman Jeremiah Smith. This is the best team in college football going into this season. And if Ryan Day can't get it done, I definitely do believe that it's fair to fire him. And that may sound absurd, because how you going to fire a guy who doesn't win, who doesn't lose anything less than 2 games in the season? He gets you to the national championship. No, when you're paying $20 million for your team, you're buying up all the good players, you essentially are paying to win. And with you paying to win, you have to show that the money that these donors are giving to you for NIL isn't going in vain. Because if you can build a team from the transfer portal and recruiting that you just have to pay all the players to come play for you, and all these guys are insanely talented, there's plenty of other coaches who can do the same thing. It doesn't take a lot to get a guy to want to come play for Ohio State when you're throwing $3 and $4 million NIL deals at them. It's championship or bust for Ohio State. Not only did they invest a lot of money into improving their team via NIL through the transfer portal, but just look at how good their coaching staff is. You got Jim Knowles as your defensive coordinator, the best DC in the nation, and you got Chip Kelly, who decided to take a demotion. He's getting paid $2 million a year to call plays for your offense. Some of y'all don't understand just how good of an offensive mind Chip Kelly is. Chip Kelly not only has revolutionized offense in college football, but he's revolutionized offense and football in general. His impact on football is largely understated, and a lot of you guys need to give Chip Kelly more respect for what he means to this game. The problem with Chip Kelly is that he doesn't like to recruit. He doesn't have to recruit at Ohio State. You just paid $20 million for arguably the best team in the nation. You got a decent quarterback. You got 2 of the best running backs in college football. You got pretty much the best receiver in college football as well. You're pretty much telling Chip Kelly, hey, man, look, we're going to pay you $2 million a year. All we want you to do is cook up an offense with all of these great pieces we have. They have a boatload of riches down there in Columbus, Ohio. If you're Chip Kelly, you're like, shoot, I don't got to recruit. I'm down and I'm getting paid more money. Let's get it. I mean, at every level this year, Ohio State is stacked. That offensive line is not going to be Achilles heel for them this year. At a program like Ohio State, you can only have a weakness at one position for so long until you finally figure it out, because they recruit at too high of a level. They've been spending way too much money for the offensive line to continue to be a big area of concern. Their 3 biggest games this year: on the road against Oregon, on the road against Penn State, and you got Michigan at home. All 3 of those games are winnable. Michigan, I believe that you end up ending your losing streak to them because you're just a more better team all across the board than what they are. They lost the greatest head coach in their program history, Jim Harbaugh. He's now gone. Jerome Moore has a lot that he has to prove. Oregon is probably going to be a toss-up game because they are the only team in the Big Ten that rivals Ohio State in terms of talent and resources, especially when it comes to NIL. As a matter of fact, Ohio State is second to Oregon when it comes to NIL funding because Oregon's top donor, Phil Knight, just pledged unlimited money to give to their NIL. So, I mean, the best chance Ohio State has of losing this year is on the road when they're playing against Oregon. But Penn State, I mean, do you really trust little games, James Franklin, to be able to be the all-time great Buckeyes team? I don't, to do this 4-16 overall against Michigan and Ohio State combined. I doubt he's going to be able to get it done. It doesn't matter if they're playing at home. They can play Mo Bamba all they want to. I promise you it's still not going to help them beat Ohio State this year. This is Ohio State's best chance to win a natty under Ryan Day. He has to get it done. And I really don't like having these conversations about head coaches who have to win a national championship or they should get fired, because I used to argue with one of my homeboys a few years ago when we had this discussion about Kirby Smart. He was saying Kirby needs to get it done. If he doesn't get it done, he should get fired. And then when I told him, sometimes you just don't take over a good program and win right away. It takes a little bit of time to turn it into a national championship contender. It takes some time to learn how to win a natty. And eventually, Kirby Smart shut him up when he won back-to-back national titles. I believe we can see a similar story with Ryan Day at Ohio State. And this new era of the transfer portal and name, image, and likeness, let's just be honest, it's made college football pretty much like what the NFL is. Free agency. You know, you got money to go out there and get the top players. You go ahead and you go get them and you address that need. You don't have to recruit and wait 2 to 3 years for a guy to blossom and fix a hole. If you have a big area of weakness on the offensive line, you can go ahead and pay as much money as it takes to get them. If you need a guy that's a game changer like Caleb Downs, you can dish out $8 million in NIL money to go get them. College football has turned into the NFL. I'm wondering if schools like Ohio State and Oregon are going to be spending so much money that it causes us to implement a salary cap. Because a lot of these teams don't have the same access to the boatload of money that Ohio State and Oregon do. So eventually they're going to have to put somewhat of a restriction on this thing, or you're going to have Ohio State buying up every single 5- and 4-star they can, and they're just going to be a complete juggernaut. Ohio State this year, with Ryan Day pretty much buying his team, there's no excuse for Ohio State not to be hoisting that gold national title trophy in 2025. It better happen, because if not, they got a really good reason to fire him. And I know it sounds insane, but you're spending $20 million on a team. I mean, there are a lot of coaches that they're really good coaching a team, but they struggle to recruit. They struggle to get their donors to donate to their program. But there are a good amount of coaches that you give Ohio State, Kalen DeBoer or Mike Elko. I'm pretty confident one of those dudes could win it all at Ohio State with access to everything. This is Ohio State's year, people.